So, funny thing happened the other day. I was sitting at a red light, and you will never guess what I saw.
You're right. I won't.
Right? I was thinking, yeah. Anyway, it was a at least 7 or 8 youths on
Youths,
electric youths,
Utes,
youths, youths,
Utes, the seven Utes.
youths. Did you just say youths? I said youths. Now I've officially aged myself. We both have. Yeah, about 7 or 8 kids on electric bikes. They
Did you
looked
run
like
them
a little
over?
mini. No, no, God, no. But
Oh,
they did look like a mini biker gang. It was
oh.
kind of it was kind of intimidating, but funny at the same time.
I was walking Peaches and I saw two this morning, and the guy pulled up, like, did a spin out on his electric bike. Hey, man, I didn't know you were out here. I'm like, oh, God. like,
Oh
uh,
no.
yeah, although it cost me $80 worth of gas the other day, so maybe I'll buy one of those and start
You know
riding
what?
around on that.
With these gas prices, like I'm really taking a double take at those things. Like that guy, like I said, that was on like the unicycle thing. That thing was getting up, bro.
Just saying.
Those things are fast.
Maybe those Utes know something we don't.
Yeah. But then I'm gonna end up killing myself.
Welcome into What's on Your Mind, Stephen Lewis. That's me. Mike Swift. That's him. So I had a medical scare last week. That's not what's on
Yeah.
my mind this week. That was fun. I don't recommend mild strokes for anybody. That's not cool. Not being able to control the right half of your body is really not a good time. And let me just tell you, you get a whole new sense of fear when you wake up and every word you look at is just blurred and you can't focus and you can't see what it is. So it's always a good time.
Having your entire right side not function, I'm sure that stifled your personal time.
It did. Absolutely.
That's a bad way to find out.
I, all of a sudden I'm on a
Whoa!
all of a sudden I'm on a great what I think is a great date, and then all of a sudden nothing.
Wow.
The
Okay.
hell.
Now I'm regretting taking a turn.
No, I mean we were me and the date were watching a new Sydney Sweeney movie. It was
Oh,
fantastic.
Jesus. No, no, no. I'm sorry. I am so sorry I brought that up.
that's no, that's not what happened. But
No, it was pretty alarming. You know, I
was.
get a text from you and so this happened. It's you in the hospital and I'm like, "Whoa, wait. What the hell just happened here?"
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. The drugs I'm on right now, ooh, I can't stay awake.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
college, like I was never a like until noon sleeper anytime in my life. But I think the
Right.
the the person, the me that hates me for not being a noon sleeper would love these drugs. So yeah, that was a fun way to start the middle of the week. That's for sure. It was unexpected, but we're getting through it. It is what it is. So I decided that given all that, I wasn't going to talk about that kind of thing, and I wasn't going to talk about anything like political or in the world, even though I'm really considering looking for a job in Canada. I hear it's great in the Great White North, and Toronto is a fine town. So
They don't want us.
I know, I know, but what I want to talk about is a couple of different things. I saw an early screening of the. Are you aware there's a Star Wars movie that's hitting theaters this week?
Yes, yes.
Mandalorian and Grogu is coming out this
Mhm.
week. I saw it already. It is a continuation of the series, and it's kind of getting mixed reviews. I do think it's got a little bit of a slower pace to it. I don't want to give away any spoilers because I know everybody else hasn't seen it yet, and I will go into spoilers eventually. But my early thoughts on it were I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I liked the show, and I'll get into that in a second. I like the show. I like the characters. It's not the greatest Star Wars movie ever, but I think it's a harmless Star Wars movie, if that makes sense. And I was talking to a friend of mine
Okay.
the other day, and I think, and this is where I'm going now, and what's on my mind. Star Wars was made for a generation of people who were children, and that
Hmm.
those people were children 40 years ago.
Right.
and you look at things differently when you're a kid as you do than you do when you're older. And I think
Hmm.
that, like, I love the lore. I love Star Wars. I always have. I think it's a piece of American culture, and it's obviously one of my favorite franchises in the world. But it was always something that was designed for children, and now you have 40-plus-year-old, mostly men, pissed off because a movie or a show is not to their liking. Now, that being said, I 100% think Disney completely fucked up the Star Wars franchise.
Yes, they did. I will
And
agree
it
with that.
started with J.J. Abrams, who, if you go back to anything J.J. Abrams did, whether it would be Lost, Alias, the Star, which I will say J.J. Abrams is the only
Star
Star
Trek
Trek
wasn't
that I
bad.
actually liked. But the problem with,
Yes.
if you look at all the first movies J.J. Abrams does, J.J. Abrams is great at introducing something, but is god awful at paying it off. He simply cannot
Hmm.
do it. And he's got a track record that proves it. I mean, even what was Cloverfield? The first Cloverfield was fantastic.
Yes.
Everything after that,
Yes.
garbage. And
Terrible.
the same thing with the first Star Trek. The first Star Trek was with Chris Pine and all those guys was a lot of fun. And then you get to the second one, and I'm like, boy, we're going all the way from they flew with the Enterprise for the first time, so we're going to rewrite the Wrath of Khan. Like, it just kind of, and then with
Yeah.
Star Wars, like, Disney just messed up, and it's well documented how they messed up. They never once had a concrete plan. You have a $400 billion franchise, and you just let people play in the sandbox and never had a concrete plan as to how you were going to finish anything. And the biggest
Hmm.
crime that Disney had is they wanted to push all these new characters, and they kind of shit on all the old ones and didn't think that anybody. Now, Harrison Ford came back for the sole purpose of killing Han Solo because that's what he wanted to do since 1983. But
Hmm.
the problem they had with that J.J. Abrams, where he screwed up royally, and they could have done it in a flashback sequence, but they didn't, and now they'll never have the chance because Carrie Fisher is dead. They never put the original big three on screen together at any point in time when they started the new trilogy. At no point in time do you ever see Luke, Han, and Leia on screen together. And now you'll never
Hmm.
have that chance because you messed it all up. And then, like, I never had anything negative really to say about the first thing that Disney did, but letting Rian Johnson just destroy the franchise with The Last Jedi pissed me off. But what I started to see after that, and that's where I kind of tribute everything now, as a geek that grew up, like comic books, when I wasn't playing sports or playing with my friends, comic books and superheroes and Star Wars were kind of my escape because, much like the era, you and I grew up roughly the same era, we didn't have video game systems in our rooms. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet or anything else. So you had to find new ways to entertain yourself. And for a lot of kids of a certain generation, that was comic books, that was cartoons, that was, Star Wars and all those adventure things, because you actually had to use your imagination to do something when you were a kid instead of now. And what I think has happened is, like, all of this, like, it's just all of a sudden they kind of wrecked that with a lot of things. But as a geek growing up, I'm just happy that you have, like, all these characters and all these big screen movies to go watch. Some of them have been god awful, but I also think there are certain things from your youth and from, especially a youth of someone 40 plus years ago, that doesn't even translate on screen for the youth of today. So even though if you love something as a kid that you saw in a comic book, which you can draw anything, or a cartoon, which you can animate anything, it doesn't necessarily play the same way on a big screen that it does. That being said, while I'm okay, like a lot of, we'll call them fanboys for lack of anything else, will, oh, that's not true to the comic. Okay, I'm okay. Like, Iron Man's a perfect example. The original Iron Man, Tony Stark, that happened during the Korean War. So they changed they took the Korean War out of it, took the same story, but switched it to the Middle East because Tony Stark being imprisoned by a Middle East terrorist group was more relatable than Tony Stark in the Korean War was. So
Right.
I'm okay with that. What I absolutely hate is when you just take all these rich stories that have 40 years of fandom and throw that out because you think you can do better. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
those usually fail. But my other problem is like if a movie comes out, I'll use Grogu and Mandalorian. The first thing people do is bash it online. Oh, it's not what I wanted it to be. It's not this. It was never made for you. Wake up, you 50-year-old worthless fuck living in your parents' basement. It was never made for you. Go see it for what it is and enjoy it. You don't have to like it, but my God, stop dissecting it because it should have been like it was in issue 75, and they just totally threw that out, and it's not supposed to be, and like you're bitching about it and you're complaining about it, and this is why we can't have nice things. Like it just you know it drives me insane. Like I'll go through, let me read some comments, right, just to prove a point because, well, we can. Oh, they've messed up Star Wars. Wouldn't it be awesome if they just would have made it more like the original Star Wars? It sets the table for an even more dog shit sequel that even fewer people will watch. This is just ridiculous. Do we hear the actual Star Wars theme? I'm very disappointed. It's Star Wars without Star Wars. Never understand why they can't just do that. I feel for anyone waste money on seeing this movie. It's a massive waste of time. Like, stop. Like the internet and social media are the downfall of all of us. Like that's the first 5 comments before you get to anything. Like everybody is we wonder why things are the way they are because the first instinct that people have is to spew venom regardless of what it is. And that's just getting annoying.
I agree with you.
So that's what's on my mind in a nutshell. If you like the TV show, go watch the movie. You know what? You probably have kids that have baby Yoda stuffed animals, or maybe you have one yourself. Go watch the movie. Go forget about life for 2.5 hours. Watch the movie and have good time. It's a galaxy a long time ago, and they're very far, far away. It's not supposed to be here. It's not supposed to be right now. It's called an escape. Go escape and stop reading so much into it. And again, unless you want to bash Disney for ruining Star Wars, because I will agree with you on that one.
That is, I mean, it's fact.
But yeah, so it just drives me crazy that that's where that's just how and it's not just I'm using a Star Wars movie and superhero movies as an example, but that's everything. Go look at anything and almost guarantee the first post about anything is negative from some
Mm-hmm.
from someone. Whether that be a new restaurant opened up, oh, they're way overpriced, wouldn't waste my money there. It's just a chicken sandwich. Like, I mean, it's always something negative. It's never, oh, cool. Glad we have one of those. I'll go try it and see if I like it for myself. I mean, you and I were talking about a restaurant last week, and I said it was garbage and I'll never go back. I never posted an online review. I never went out and even though like I didn't like my experience, you had a very different experience. You're like, me and my family eat there all the time. It's always good. You must have just got a bad batch. Okay. But I did not like seek out their website and be like, you worthless fucks. You wouldn't know how to make good food if good food hits you in the head. Like, I mean, it's just the whole the negativity is just nauseating because that's all it is about everything. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I managed to review Star Wars and bitch about people bitching about things. So that's what's on my mind.
I was sitting here thinking about the irony in all of this the entire time because yeah.
Right? I know.
Steven.
I know.
Well, Steven, do you remember your first on-air experience in radio?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
So,
clockwork. I can tell you right now exactly how it went.
okay.
Uh when I started doing it, the station I was at still played, still used CDs. So
Hmm.
this was early 2000s. So it still used CDs. And again, at the time, I was a kid, but I had my first show on the air at night. And on the CD, you were supposed to queue up to a certain point in the song and start talking. So you would trim out essentially what's in the front, and then you would start talking or whatever. So I remembered to cue it up, and I did cue it up to the right cue point. But what I didn't do is switch the CD to the right track. So my first ever on air break was into the wrong song queued at the wrong point. And there are those that will make the claim that his career did not get much better after that. So
So that was your first.
it's my very first time being on the air, and you have no idea how excited I was. I told everybody I'm gonna be on the air
Oh
tonight.
no.
Be on the air, but I mean, it was intimidating. But I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be on the air tonight. Listen to this, it's going down, and it did. Cue up Young Jock, Yeah,
Oh no. Oh
yeah,
no, Steven.
yep.
Okay.
But at least I didn't swear.
Yeah.
At least I did not swear.
Mm.
Did not swear
I
on the
kind of I kind of did.
Did you really?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Was it a good swear?
No. No, it was a bad swear.
No.
But I got lucky. I got lucky. So, my first commercial on air experience um was doing oldies
Yeah.
overnight
Yeah.
overnight on a s- overnight on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was cooking. I felt so great. Anyway, but like you said, it was intimidating because I'd never actually done an actual on-air shift. Um and the PD that interviewed me, so have you ever been on? Oh yeah, sure. Back when I was at the college
Ah,
station I worked at, yeah, I bullshitted my way through that entire interview, and probably in hindsight, he probably knew that, but he needed an overnight Sunday night guy, so he hired me, and so the um the station at the time was already a dinosaur. Um, but they had these little what we call in the business carts.
yep.
They look like 8-track tapes if for those of you that may
Dude,
know what an 8-track is.
it was fantastic. There was nothing better than doing an air shift when you decided you were, and you had like all the stuff that plays between songs. We call it imaging, but all
Hmm.
that stuff was on carts too. And it was badass
Yes.
because you would be moving. If you watched somebody on air back in the day, it was a goddamn art form because you would have
Yes.
CD playing in one deck, the mic going the other. And then if you had like 15 seconds left in a song, you had to make sure the first stop set or spot commercial was ready. Then if you wanted to switch something out, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to flip this out. And you would be behind your back and flipping things around and moving things in place. And then when you put, even though there was nobody in the room, you would put it in, you would switch it, you would do it, and it would be flawless. And then when everything went off, you would be behind that control board and you'd be like, fucking did
Yeah. Yup. Yes. Like it sucks. It sucks when there's nobody there
Oh, it's
to actually
horrible.
see you
It's
do it.
horrible. Because you're like,
Because
you want to be on, you want
from
to
the
open,
listener standpoint, you have no idea
no
the
clue.
amount of chaos that just went down just to switch from one song to another
Yep.
back in those days. Because you were running an actual board, which nowadays not too. There are some stations that still run audio boards, but um the just the amount of chaos and the amount of concentration that you had to put into segging from one song to another. And God forbid if you had to talk over it.
Oh, yeah. It was fantastic. It was so much fun. And like you, there's so many times where you wanted to just crack the microphone and be like, you have no idea how badass what just happened was.
What you just heard was so sweet.
Right. Like you
And
don't
then
get
somebody out of the crowd just screams nerd. It's
right.
like, yeah, 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 that's me.
And then like if you talk right, I mean it's called hitting the post, but
Hmm.
if you talk right up to where you finish and then the first note, the singer starts singing the first note, you'll like turn
Oh,
everything off, and then you're like, see that? Just delivered
yeah.
the mail.
It's a dying art because
It
nobody
is.
really,
It
not too many.
is.
Like I was listening to a station in a larger market not too long ago, and it was just I was unimpressed.
Oh, it's the art is gone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say that because I love it. I mean, there are still a few that it is, but it's all, I mean, it's not what it used to be. And that's the I just was talking to my friend Jeff last night. We were having a conversation. And I'm just like, I'm like, it's just not what it used to be. I said, because even though I have thoughts of doing some things, like it's not going to be the way it used to be because the industry isn't what it
Hmm.
was anymore. And um that's the thing that I think sucks. It's just
I
not
can agree with that.
like it's just never going to be, it's never going to quite be what it used to be.
Yeah.
And I wish it was, but it's just unfortunately now with automation and everything else, like it's changed the game. But yeah, my first air shift ever was filled with mistakes and not nearly as cool as I thought it would be. I should get Sean on
So,
here one day and we should play like our first demo because we thought our first demo was so badass. And now, like every time I hear it, I cringe. I'm like, oh, dude.
hmm.
Remember when
Hmm.
we used to walk around asking everybody we knew to listen to this? I wish we would have never done that.
Never done that. Yeah, I've been there. So, getting back to my first
Yes.
on air experience, I've got this cart queued up, and it had like a little jingle at the front, and then a 10-second uh talk space for you, like a 10-second window for you to talk, and you were supposed to front sell the songs that were coming up,
Right.
all of the A songs on the log. So I get to the station call letters and say my name, and boom, imaging cuts off. The close, the tense. It took me 10 seconds to say the call letters, the station call letters, and my name, and I sat there for a second. I just froze. It was just like I messed up. I messed up. And I just sat there. So there's dead air for like a good 5 seconds. And I just kind of snapped out of it. I hit the net song and I just stood there. And I just kept going, man, I can't believe I just messed up. I can't believe I just messed up. And I just went, fuck. And I'm just like, I'm in my own self, just in my own feelings, kind of panicking over what I just did. And at this time, the station that I was working at had a window into the on-air studio. It was a huge, like 4 foot by 4 foot window, that you could look over into the production studio because the morning show at that time, they had the producer in another room. So in order for them to communicate and see each other, there was a room or a big window. So there was a guy, I believe his name was JD, was working production. He was cutting commercials at the time, and he saw me throwing this fit in the studio. And I turn around and like look at him, and I'm like, "What the hell are you looking at?" And he just calmly points behind me, and I look over, and I'm still potted up and on.
Damn.
So my microphone was still hot, and I could feel like I'm a very dark skinned black man, but I could feel myself turning white, just flushed with just instant fear. And no phone calls. I mean, it's overnight on a Sunday, so but I was panicking the whole time. So finally, the end of the shift, I grabbed the air check and listened back to my break, and the processing was so prominent. It took me out of, unless you knew to hear to like listen for me, you had no idea I was in the background dropping F bombs. And that taught me a valuable lesson that I will never forget, and that's why
Yeah. It's,
the
I
F
mean,
bombs never. I don't ever. I Just to wrap it up, as a parent, I could always censor myself in front of a microphone, but could never censor myself around my kids,
yeah, you know
which I
what?
thought was weird.
It's an art form because I can be in a studio having a conversation, not on the air, talking, swearing, yelling, doing whatever. And as soon as I'm like, I will literally be like, hang on a second, and go right into something and not
Mm-hmm.
think twice about it. I wish I could do that in real life because I can't.
It's weird. You just have this weird switch, and for the most part, I don't think I've ever had any. No, I've never had any. Other than that, never had any slip ups on air. Or yeah, it's just when that microphone flips on, the there's like a certain part of the vocabulary that just instantly shuts off.
Right. It's just, I mean, the other thing I think you don't realize when you're behind that control board is the microphones are directional. And if you're away
Mm-hmm.
from it, it doesn't quite pick up. And then the processing that makes the music sound the way it does kind of hides a lot, which is, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have had similar issues, and gotten lucky because of it.
Oh my God, did that save me that day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think, and it's, I mean, but there is always like, that's when I did rock radio. I loved it because I could finally like be a guy and like I
Mm-hmm.
could get away with you know, saying things that I wouldn't have been able to say otherwise because,
Right.
it was the right spot for it, I guess. But it was, I mean, it's all being aware of the audience, and radio is a lot like TV. Every TV show caters to a certain audience. I mean, there are
Mm-hmm.
TV shows that cater to the same audience, but like the people watching Murder She Wrote are not the same people that are watching, Yellowstone. Maybe they are. That's probably a bad example.
Yeah, that's a. How
That's
about
terrible. But like,
ridiculousnly? They're
exact.
not.
Thank you. There
They're
you go.
usually
Exactly.
there are some exceptions, but for the majority,
So yeah. So like, if your station is supposed to be, you know, catering to the Murder She Wrote audience, you don't want to start talking about, you know, hey, did you see what happened on Ridiculous? Can you believe? You know what I mean? It's just that
right.
that's a lot of what it is. So I don't know. It's just it's fun, but I do agree with you. At one point in time, it was more of an art form than it is now, and that's sad.
That's sad. It's sad. It seems to be the direction all of our conversations about radio seem
Or
to
how
end up
sad
with
it's
us
become.
saying how sad it's become. And that also makes me sad.
It is.
Um,
I had a friend. I had a record friend that passed a year or so ago, and the last time I saw him, we were backstage at a show, and he asked me, and he's like, "What's your favorite time in radio?" I'm like, "The last 4 years I was in Michigan because it was still fun. Like,
yeah.
I never once felt pressure, or I shouldn't say I never felt pressure because that's not true. but I was never overwhelmed by pressure. That's a
There
better
you go.
way. That's a better way to say it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
Because
it.
I was pressured. I was telling my friend Jeff last night, and one day we still have to get everybody on and have a lizard fair conversation. I'm like,
Yes.
so I was telling him, I'm like, the only reason I put that concert together is because an asshole promoter said, and I quote, "I can't wait to watch him fail." I did. It was all done out of spite, 100% out of spite, because I was pissed off, and I was like, "Oh, that's how we're gonna go. All right, I'll show you. I'm gonna do it bigger and better than you ever could." And like that's what it was. It was not. I mean, there was some other things involved too, but
Hmm.
the motivation, so to speak, was pure spite for someone being an asshole. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll prove you wrong. But we also had fun, and it was easy to do. I shouldn't say easy, but it was the right people in the right place at the right time. And I've never had that before. And I think, and also I will say, I don't, it's easy to say because the company's no longer in existence. The right company,
Yes. Yes.
and that's ow,
Yes.
that was my knee.
Ooh,
Um, but
yeah.
but the right company, because it was nice to be able to, we worked for a company at the time that if you performed, you were left alone.
Hmm.
And I've worked for companies since then that even if you do perform, you get nothing. And on the other side, like you have so many hands in what you're cooking that it's almost impossible to perform. Like that's the other, because everybody else has a different definition of what they want the performance to be. And when that happens, it's not fun
Hmm.
because it goes
Hmm.
back to, okay, cool. I'm over here trying to be ridiculous and you want me to be murder she wrote. But I'm not designed to be murder she wrote. I'm designed to be ridiculousness. Like it's just,
Right.
it's a lot of frustration. And I
With
think
that in mind, I'm sorry. No, no.
no, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Continue that thought. No, no, no. Please, please
No,
finish
because I
that
was
thought.
probably rambling. So by all means, go bring it.
Well, it's just me and my ADHD. I always want to jump on the end of a sentence, and sorry.
No, you're fine.
So with that in mind, what would you say was your worst experience without like, throwing anybody directly under the bus or whatever?
Um, God, it's a toss up. It's a toss up. The last one, because I was lied to my face for the better part of 4 or 5 months, and that's left a lasting impression, and that pissed me off because
Mm,
I'm like don't lie to my face, like and
right.
and don't that really bothered me and still bothers me because there's not one. And I've asked this question to any one of my bosses anytime I've ever had a boss. I have always asked the question on a regular basis. Hey, is there anything you don't like that we or I am doing? Is there anything you want to do better? And when you don't respond to that question with any kind of real feedback, like it pisses me off then when you all of a sudden come around with, well, it's this and that. Okay, no, because I asked you about this and this and you never said anything, and that pisses me off because you didn't give me an opportunity. If you don't tell me, if you don't tell, and goes for any profession, if you don't tell someone there's something wrong, they don't have the ability to fix it if they don't know. You know what I mean? Like you can't,
Hmm.
if you're an accountant and you do a report, you turn in a report every month and you ask your boss, hey, that look okay? And your boss goes, yeah, look great. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, you've turned in all these reports, you've done them wrong every month for the last 6 months, and we just can't have that. Like, whoa, wait a minute. I asked you what you thought
I
were
asked you.
right, and you didn't say anything. That pissed me
Hmm.
off. But I think so. That one, the last one made me angry. Um, Indianapolis was probably the worst because it was the most toxic. It started out the best, and then it just became toxic in the end. And it was just a case of, you know, a lot of different people wanting to mark their territory and me standing up and saying, hey, I think we're going in the wrong direction. And to this day, I do take solace in the fact that this day that station is a fucking piece of shit because their plan was god awful terrible, and it's still proven to be god awful terrible to this day. because they totally stripped the identity away during a pandemic of all times and messed it up. And it's never recovered. And it still sucks to this day. And I feel sorry for it because there was so much potential there. And I remember multiple times raising my hand going, hey, I think we're swinging too far. It's kind of a great microcosm of the country. Hey, we're swinging too far over here. You know, we were way over here. Now we're too far over here. Somewhere in the middle, there's probably something really good that everybody will like. But we never got to that point. And I got asked,
Mm-hmm.
well, we want it to sound like it did when we first launched. Well, we can't. Why? Because you pulled 30% of the music we used to play off the radio station. What do you mean? You just sat down in an Italian restaurant and you said, wow, I don't know what it is, but the spaghetti doesn't taste as good as it did last time. It's because you took all the fucking meatballs off of it. You don't need an entire plate of meatballs because that's too much. But if you add 3 or 4, all of a sudden you got a whole different dish sitting in front of you. And it was just like, people making $250,000 a year trying to justify their existence in a pandemic. And it's, it sucks. And but I will say indie, with the exception of the upper management, the people I worked with absolutely love and cherish to this day. Still get together with them from time to time, still talk to them on a regular basis. Like, it was a great group of people that probably bonded over one of the worst times in the world. Everybody was shut off from everybody. So like, we stayed in touch with each other and checked in on each other. And like, it was just that was a really good group of people. So people, yeah, but situation, no. Why? What was your
Yeah.
what was your worst?
The station I worked for in Detroit.
Really?
Yes. That
I
was a
thought you would
terrible
have.
experience for me.
Okay.
It was. Now I will say it was a mix of bittersweet because um some of the people that I worked with were great. I felt honored and privileged to be in the same building with the Alex Tier. Like, that was like awesome.
Tears a good dude.
Good dude, man. He was a good dude.
Still is.
I didn't see and talk to Alex a whole heck of a lot, but like you got to understand, for especially for someone like myself in a small market like Saginaw, and
Mm-hmm.
hearing of a program director and like Alex, it was like a legend, like meeting a celebrity within the business for me.
Sure.
But the and again, so some of the people that I worked with, was I worked primarily out of the promotions department at that time, were really great. As a matter of fact, that's where I met Mile High.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. 'Cause y'all started in the same spot.
We actually, well, no, we didn't start, like, I didn't start there, but that's where I ended up.
Hmm.
After I left Saginaw the first time. I ended up in Detroit, long story short, and ended up at DRQ, the world famous WDRQ Detroit.
The killer station.
And and at the time, that station was, wow, it was smoking.
I was super excited to do. I did a couple of weekend shifts, from time to time on that station, and it was cool to be able to do it.
Now, and again, there were some cool points. Like, I met a few celebrities that came up for interviews at the station. Got to be a part of some pretty cool promotions. Their winter concert at that time was absolutely bananas.
The electric Kringle
And
Jingle.
yes, no, well, yes, it was Kringle Jingle. Yeah, that was Kringle Jingle. And I remember that year it was 112, Jay-Z, City High, Pink, and another act I can't think of at the
Wow,
moment. But
good lineup.
man, that was, whoo, man. Those were it was a great experience to get under my belt, but the night guy that I was interning under, it was a disaster. Like that was horrible. And that was a horrible experience. I'm going to leave his name out, but that was a horrible experience.
The first night guy I was a sidekick for that I worked for, I still talk to this day. Love him to death. Like, it was a great experience. Like, he got let go, unfortunately, but I was, and
Mm-hmm.
I, but I mean, still love the guy to this day. Like, he's fantastic talent wise, and he's a good dude. But yeah, it's just, that was a time, like, I remember, like, I've determined now as I'm getting older that there's degrees of corporate that I think I can work in. I think smaller corporate, I think I can work in, but like massive corporate, like, I know, like, I'm a maverick and I always have been. Like, I don't function well. Like, to me, rules have to have some gray area, and I know that's not how life works. So don't at me, because I already know. Like, I know how, but I always have to have a little bit of freedom to maneuver, I guess. And like corporate now, especially on the radio side, everything is research and numbers and everything else. And again, I get it. You don't want to play songs that people don't like. But the one thing that I was always good at, and I will put myself up against anybody. I'm that confident in it because I see it on a regular basis. I understand a vibe of a room and a vibe of people and a vibe of an audience. And there are things where and Michigan was a great example. There are things that I would take a chance on that nobody else would, because I knew it would work for me. I wasn't caring if it worked in Miami, Chicago, New York, LA, Baltimore, Nebraska, wherever. I wasn't catering to those audiences. I was catering to my audience. And for my audience, I knew it was going to work. Now, radio has become, well, if it's good in LA, we got to play it everywhere. And again, and that's not necessarily wrong. A hit's a hit. I get that. But there was also, it was those things that you took a chance on that gave stations flavor. And a perfect example of this is Detroit. Detroit per cap probably plays more Eminem than any other radio station in the country, and they should.
Yes, as they
They
should.
should. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like certain. So it's that kind of thing. And I was always better when I was able to take chances and do things and implement things that I think would work. And I also like totally believe like a lot of corporate is because it's so corporate, it makes it harder for a personality to be a personality, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because
No, that makes perfect
you
sense.
have so many things you have to say that are part of the corporate thing, and it leaves less room for you to be you. And I always looked at it, especially when I was programming, the people that worked under me, I always wanted them to do things that I couldn't do, or do things that I could do, but they might be better at it than I am in a certain aspect of things. Because I didn't want everybody, but I also, and you could attest to this, I didn't want everybody to sound like a copy of me. I wanted everybody to be, I wanted everybody to be their own thing and do their own thing and sound their own way. Yeah, we all had a certain,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I want everybody needs to get in the car and get to here by this point. I don't care what road you
Right.
take to get there, as long as you get there by this point. And I never wanted everybody, I don't want you to do it like I do it. If I was going to do it like I do it, I just do it, kind of thing. And that's where I think like that's what bothers me. And that's what I was talking to my friend my friend and I were talking last night. It was just that's where things have changed a little bit. Like that part of it's gone. And so I
Yeah.
find myself looking for that situation where it could still be not, it's never going to be what it was, but something closer to what it was than what it is now. And again, I'll always be searching because God knows that's not
I was gonna say, are
necessarily.
you are you gonna be chasing ghosts then the rest of your
and
career?
that's
Because that
and
it
that's
sounds like
and that's a great question, and I wish I could
because
see 6 months into the future to know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just doesn't sound like something that you're gonna be completely fulfilled on. Just given the nature of the business.
No, and you're
Now.
probably right, and you're probably 100% right. Like I, again, there's been a lot of things in the last probably year or so, year and a half or so that I passed on just because like I just like I've given it a lot of thought, but it always gets to the point where I'm like, I don't think I'd be able to do what I want to do. And then if it doesn't work, what do I do then? And you're also,
Mm-hmm.
as you're getting older, like young 19-year-old me, if you told me, hey, Anchorage, Alaska is really, I'm all right, let's go. I would have tomorrow. Now I'd be like, ooh, there? I don't know. Like it's kind of, it's just it's a different vibe. So I don't know. And I mean, again, I know we talked about it before. To go back in time and relive those days would be fun because I'm 100% confident they will never come again. And I wish they would.
I'm hopeful. I'm
Like
still hopeful though.
I wish the next generation could experience, what we experienced and some of the stuff
Yeah.
that we got to do. Because again, I don't think we were ever concerned. The paycheck was never the first concern.
No.
I
No, I
mean,
learned that right away.
right,
If I wasn't a Seacrest or a you know, or
right.
I'm not I'm not living comfortably off of my radio paycheck.
No, I mean, you got a paycheck and that was
Well,
cool.
I mean, living
But
comfortably, but I wasn't, you know what I mean?
right,
I wasn't living, I wasn't
you weren't
buying
rolling.
designer clothing
I was gonna say
and
you weren't
yeah,
rolling deep in an Escalade, but
right.
it was. I mean, but again, oh, cool, we got paid this week. But it was never like it was never just about the paycheck. It was always about the stuff that you were doing in between paycheck to paycheck, and
Hmm.
the stuff that you would like. Every one of us, anybody who's ever loved this business, has probably had a moment where they went into a studio, they've turned on a microphone, they've talked to somebody they don't know and will probably never meet, and then turned off that microphone and went, I can't believe I get to do this for a living.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Because
I,
it's unlike anything else.
the time I interviewed Roman Reigns,
Yeah.
that was like, I like, as soon as the interview was done, it was just like, holy shit, I just interviewed Roman Reigns.
Yeah. It's that those are the
I
things.
mean, oh my God. And then there I am with Seth Rollins.
Oh,
Seth freaking Rollins. It wasn't Roman
ah,
Reigns. It was Seth freaking Rollins.
close enough.
Jeez. But yeah, I was just saying close enough, but still, it was one of those things where yeah, it was like there, in a normal setting, there was no way in the world I was ever even going to talk to him.
Right. No, I thought one of the coolest people that I've interviewed, and it will be very unexpected when I tell you who it was, because you've probably seen practically everybody that I've ever interviewed. Like I've interviewed a ton of people. Like I'm not, and that's
Hmm.
not a brag. That's not by no means. I'm bragging. I'm not name dropping. One of the coolest interviews I ever had is Chris. And when I say Chris, you're like, Chris, who? Chris, the guy who was the inspiration for the Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Ah, yes. I remember you doing that interview.
He came in on, I believe he was doing the book tour for the book that the movie is based on.
Hmm.
And it was a great interview. And we were talking, and he, because he walked through that whole movie. I cry in that movie all the time. Like that movie gets me. And it's the last scene in the movie because when he's sitting at the corporate table and they give him the job and they look at him and they go, Chris, it wasn't too difficult for you, was it? And then you start looking at everything that led up to that point. And like you can tell he's holding it in. And I'm like, yeah, it was. Like it was but I remember talking to him, and what you didn't see in the movie is him and his son when he finally bought a house after he had a job for the first time and he bought a real house. They didn't put furniture in the house and they slept on the floor for a long time because they were so used to having the run and
Mm.
go and everything. It took him a long time to adjust. But I had a really good conversation with him because I asked him straight up. I'm like, you did this. I'm like, I'm not sugarcoating what you did or what you went through, but you did some of this at a time where put it on my tab was an okay thing without checking your credit, checking your payment history or anything else. Everybody just had a tab. And there was a lot of, you could go to a landlord and go, hey, I don't have all the rent this month, but here's here's $75. I'll give you the rest when I can, and not necessarily get it. The time was different, which is kind of what I was
Mm-hmm.
getting at. And I said, I don't want to use the word easy, but do you think it was easier because of the time you did it? And he swears that I could do it to this day if I had to. And I would like to see how that plays out just based on the technology side of it and the how
Right.
everything is digital now. Because it was a lot easier to lie about something, you know what I mean? Because you weren't checking IDs everywhere you went. And
Mm-hmm.
your ID didn't have a barcode on the back of it that you could scan to make sure it was a real ID.
Was
You
it
know what I mean?
real?
Like
Yeah.
there were just ways to cheat things that don't exist now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was but it was a really good interview. Never
We
seen.
have we have got to we've already kind of made a whole nother episode within an episode, but we have got to set aside the rest of this for interviews that people we've interviewed and just some of the conversation within that
For sure.
because we definitely yeah, that would be an interesting episode.
It very much would. So, but anyway, we're coming up on the Memorial Day weekend holiday. So have a good Memorial Day. Hopefully it's not going to cost you too much. That's a joke because it's going to.
I hope you're not driving anywhere
Right?
because I'm choosing to go nowhere so that I have beer money for the weekend.
Yeah, I am. I put $80 gas in my Roadster,
Oh
and
my.
that's the most I've ever spent in that car. I also have a flat tire on that car that I have to fix that I found out today. But yeah, I saw on the news where people are only filling up their tank like halfway at a time because the price is
Mm-hmm.
so, which, and I saw that some stations have already started jacking up their gas already in lieu of the holiday weekend,
Yep. Yep.
which
I'm gonna try and throw a few extra bucks in my tank tomorrow and hope that that the gas station near me hasn't already raised their prices. I got a damn speeding ticket from one of those traffic cameras.
you can fight those, by the way.
Somebody told me I don't even have to pay it because it doesn't
It
apply to
does.
my points
It doesn't.
or license.
No, because they cannot prove it was you driving. They cannot prove it. They cannot assign points to your license because they have no way of proving you were driving the car.
In the state of Ohio, a police officer has to be witness
Correct.
to the
Correct.
driver.
Correct.
So those cameras are cash grab. $85.
Yeah, it's what they are.
And
100%.
here's the twist because I don't want to dwell on or go far into this, but here's the twist. They got me for what they called going 42 in a 20 because at every school zone here in Dayton they have speed cameras.
Right.
But the time of my speeding, and
Is
I'm
not
using
during
air quotes,
is not during school hours.
it was at 4:30 p.m.
Correct. That's
Far
what I'm saying.
after this.
So I'm saying you can fight those.
Yeah. So I was like, you guys are like, because most people would, well, some people would just go, oh, well, I guess they got me, and then send them their money.
That's what
And
they
it's like,
count
wait a
on.
second, you lowered the goalpost there, and then charged me,
Yeah,
because
that's what they
there's no
count
way
on.
that I would never speed. It pisses me off when I see people speed through a school zone.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, because school zones are only during whatever time through. It's a certain time.
hmm
Like you don't have to go through. You don't have to go 20 during a school zone on a weekend when
right.
school or in the summer for that matter when school's not in session.
Well, this was a Wednesday. It was a Wednesday at 4:30.
Okay,
School was already out for a couple of hours.
sure.
So anyway,
Anyway, good luck with your speeding ticket. I'm going to go back to the hospital, not because I had another stroke, but because I'm going to give some plasma so I have a little extra money to spend for the holiday weekend. So,
good luck with that
I'm
because you're
kidding.
not gonna.
Nobody
They're not
wants
giving you money at the hospital.
nobody wants my plasma or any like if I decided to donate an organ, they'd be like, nah, we're good, dude. Thanks. But I thought there was a
Trust
shortage. Not that bad.
whatever. Follow us on the socials. Give us comments. We love it. We love you guys
No, we don't.
giving us your comments. Um, Bash Steven.
Everybody does.
Tell him to stop taking unflattering pictures of me before every episode.
Hey,
Taking advantage of someone who has a mental disability.
hey, I mean, I didn't realize everybody was getting 2 tickets to the gun show just in time for the holiday weekend.
It's hot. This,
Yeah, it
I,
is. Sure
it's,
is.
oh my God. The room is hot.
Yeah, it is. Temperature is rising.
I am so glad we are not in the same room right now because I would smack the ish out of you.
Won't be the first time. Actually, you'd have to get in line.